India. My name's Chris Framer. I'm very grateful and recovered alcoholic. Welcome, welcome. This is the cool. I mean, AA is live and well in Cottonwood, Arizona, for heaven's sakes. This is yeah. Rich, somebody called and asked me ages ago to do this. I figured, how bad could this be? A little small conference up the hills in Arizona, a couple little hicks come in. This is like, who knew there's this many drunks in Arizona? Mike, this, they told me. I know. I know. Guess he just got in charge. This is the hottest mic I've ever talked behind. I mean, it is absolutely. So I don't want to blow you out of the water, but thanks. If I get too low, when I get emotional and start crying, well, then I'll kick it out. So don't worry about that. Honor. Guys, I'm honored to be here. Thanks for everybody that had anything to do with me getting here, and Rich for doing this, and Lorraine, my little pig, she's running through the airport. I was like, who in the hell is this? And she's my driver. My driver was better, much better than your driver. I just wanted to say this. What a peach, and what a meal. Food, I got to tell you guys, anytime you go someplace around the world, I got to do this a bunch, and they always have barbecue. And you coming from Texas, you got to hold it suspect. I mean, I'm sorry. We were just talking, Tara and I, we were just talking about dinner. It's like having pizza away from New York. It's like, really, but they did a heck of a job. That barbecue was excellent. I give them if they don't think I will. Love it. Absolutely love it. All the little service guys and the coffee folks that have been running all day long. And thank you so much for all of that. Little guy that picked up the book, bless you. He didn't stroke out. I mean, that's how cool was that. I mean, Lily, come on, guys. That will absolutely screw up your drinking forever. I mean, it was all those people applauding. Yeah, I don't know if I could have done that or not, but anyway. Great countdown. We've got a whole bunch of old time sobriety of this place, and I am honored to be in the same room with you. That's the very best. Let me give you a little rundown here. I got you for an hour. I won't keep you any more than that. I watch the clock closer than you guys do because I don't believe in long-winded speakers, and we've done real good this weekend, so I'll try to carry on. I got to get out of here bright and early in the morning because I got to get back to work. I'm going to miss the Sunday morning speaker, but I got to tell you, if she's as good as everybody else has been, we're in good shape. We have had some wonderful speakers here. It's sometimes when you speak at these conferences, it's like a free for all. It's like everybody's on a little different page, and it's so nice to be here, and everybody's talking about God and the steps, and how can you go wrong? So I love it. So I Gabby this afternoon said something about perspective, and I gotta tell you that's kind of where this comes from. I gotta make sure y'all kind of know where I'm coming from. I'm one of those cats that couldn't get sober. Everybody's got their go-to guy. I'm a relapsing fool, and that's not a badge of honor, and that's nothing to be bragging about. I'm one of those guys that needed to get sober and wanted to get sober so bad I could taste it, and I couldn't put this thing together. And so everything I share kind of comes from this sense of desperation. When I finally got this in 1987, I never looked back. And I'll tell a little bit about that story. But I also started working for a hospital treatment centers about 21 years ago, I guess. And I've done clerical work. I'm an administrator for a hospital. So I get to see a whole bunch of alcoholics and addicts come through those doors. And it colors my view of Alcoholics Anonymous, about our fellowship. It's just what some people think is just real flippant. Oh, it's just fun and just whatever works is fun and happy. I'm sorry. I can't go that way. I'm sorry. If it works for you, that's crap. If it didn't work for me. And so that's where I'm coming from. Y'all follow? I love you. If you're an Alcoholics Anonymous, you're my best friend. And I can't think of a bigger cheerleader for our fellowship than me. Y'all just understand that going in the door. I'm not here to pick a bone with anybody. And, we were laughing about it this morning. I did a workshop on sponsorship this morning, and laughing how closed-minded some people in Alcoholics Anonymous can be. It's amazing to me. Young man, I want you to be open-minded. Till you're sober about 2 years, then you can just slam your mind completely. And it's like, well, my sponsor said this. Well, my counselor said this, and My big book says this. That's where I come from. I mean, I don't know. What? And some of you are not applauding. So you know where this is going. I'm not a meeting maker, make it one day at a time kind of guy. I'm just not. I'm work the steps and have a spiritual experience and never look back. That kind of guy. So there we go. And so just I love you and I'm glad you're here. Um, I just talked to my mom a little bit ago. I went home back to home to the Best Western and changed and I called my mom. She turned 90 in February. Bless her heart. She was just well. I just sat down and had my glass of wine. And she's been drinking a glass of white wine every night for forever that I know of. I've never seen her drink more than that. She drinks a glass of white wine every night. I mean, how cool would that? If I could do that, I would too. And we jammer about it all the time. Mom, it's Christmas. We got a whole bunch of this stuff. You can drink all you want. Have a good. We bought it. It's like she says, no, no. I said, what's wrong? She says, it just tastes a bit off. This is y'all know where I'm at. I don't care if there's a dead cricket floating in it. I don't care what color it is. I don't care what the legs are like. I don't care what. I just like it. If it gets you downtown, let's drink it. And my father passed away years ago. He was an alcoholic, the nicest, kindest, gentlest man I ever knew in my life. And he was a periodic. Y'all know what a periodic looks like. It was a particularly heartbreaking type of alcoholic. He'd stay sober for long stretches of time, and then just I don't know, barometric pressure would change and he'd twist. He'd buy. We knew we were in for the onslaught because he'd go buy a 6-pack of Slits beer, and then that was it. And 6 months, 7 months, he would be out just. But he went to work every day, but he wasn't present. He was off. And uh, I got two sisters, and they didn't catch the bullet. There's a genetic predisposition. It's gone beyond theory. It's been proven years ago, and that's just the nature of the beast. My twin brother and I, we caught the bullet. He said, "Tell y'all hi." He got sober 2 months after I did. 2 months after I did, he got sober. I just want to make sure everybody hear that. He's been better at me at everything in the world except this. So I just couldn't relapse. I could never relapse. Just give him a chance to catch up. I mean, that was just. But I got a little sister, and it's the same stuff, and half sister, and they've never had a problem with alcohol. And they don't understand alcoholism. I gave up years ago, tried to explain it to them, and just have a nice life. It's just they're glad I'm in here, and they're glad I'm happy, joyous, and free. And they didn't know all the crazy stuff. I went out of my way to keep my family from knowing some of the crazy stuff I did. And in Texas, you move around a lot. You buy a pickup so you can move in the middle of the night. Sometimes you have to do that. I still own a pickup today. You never know. And that's the nature of the beast. There was a guy in my sponsorship lineage, a guy named Don Pritz up in Denver, passed away ages ago. A wonderful man. He was a dang good friend. And some of the talks that he gave, if you listen to the last talk he ever gave, is you can hear it on there. He talked specifically. He said somewhere along the line, we started focusing on sobriety instead of recovery. A lot of the old timers in here, I'm sure that could attest to some of this. It's like we're bebopping along and we're seeming to be focusing on not drinking one day at a time instead of, man, let's recover and set the world on fire. Let's go kick some butt. And so I'm going to come at that with a little bit of that attitude tonight. I want y'all to understand where I'm coming from. Those promises, when I finally started doing this work, it's just amazing what happened in my life, truly. And oh my gosh, I mean, this tie costs more than I used to make it a month. It's just life changes. The whole I work again, I'm an administrator at a hospital, and periodically, at least once a week, I get a chance to grab one of the little new guys out of a detox and take them over. And we have a little canteen in there. They'll come over. I just want to get to know them a little bit, visit with them. And it's just the perks of being an administrator. You get to talk to whoever hell you want to. And I've done this about 100 times. We sit down with this guy. My deal with these new guys is I give them a Pop-Tart. If you're detoxing anybody, you can't get them to a medical detox. Pop-Tarts and Big Red. Just saying, don't spill it on the carpet. It'll be there forever. But Pop-Tarts and Big Red will absolutely fix you for at least a minute. And So I got this little guy, and he's got that crap all over him, and he's eating. He's just now coming off all the Ativan. He's finally starting to look around a little bit, and he looks up on the walls and sees where we had the steps and the traditions today, and he looks up and he says, "Oh man, no." I said, "What?" He said, "Man, I can't." I figured for this amount of money, we do something besides AA. Well, you're wrong. I don't know what to do. I said, "What's up?" He said, "Buddy, I've tried AA. He's getting his stuff together, finishing up his pot. He's leaving, and he's pissed." I said, "What? I tried AA. It doesn't work. I, if I've heard that once, I've heard it a thousand times. And in a 10-minute conversation with the guy, I can find out what the problem was. He went to a billion meetings, never cracked a big book, just like me, never got a sponsor, never worked a single step. But he went to a bunch of meetings and he didn't stay sober. It makes me want to cry." I was raised in the hill country, and my twin brother and I, we started drinking about the same time back in high school. And my demon was a bottle of Boone's Farm apple wine. It was the bomb. And I look at that, feel the love. And I still see it, look at it fondly every once in a while. I mean, it's amazing. I don't think that stuff's ever seen a great. I mean, it can't really be. It's some chemical compound. I don't know what it is, but you can hallucinate on this stuff. I guarantee you that. It's like, but I started drinking back in high school and holding it together. I was in the food business. I was a little budding cook, and I wanted to be a chef. And went to Houston, got an apprenticeship program, and I was the only American in that program at the time. And I was good at what I was doing. I was a little talented, a little fast, 100 miles an hour kind of guy. And all the chefs were drinking, and I was drinking, and we were holding it together. And guys, I got to tell you, when alcohol worked for Chris Raymer, you couldn't touch me, y'all. And I get in these circles with people that want to bash alcohol. Just stamp out drugs, stamp out alcohol. I said, no, why? That stuff's good. I mean, if you can drink it normally, it's okay. It's just I couldn't, but I had this little glide plane. I had a period of time where alcohol absolutely worked for me, and I wasn't robbing liquor stores and getting neck. It was doing what alcohol was supposed to do. It was back in the disco days and John Travolta and big old, well, never mind. Anyway. Yeah, some of y'all were, and I'm bebopping along pretty good. And by the end, like I said, I'm getting pretty successful. I'm doing some pretty good stuff and holding it together pretty good. Towards the late 70s, this thing called depression started to kick my butt. One of the main symptoms of untreated alcoholism is depression. A lot of people, which came first, the chicken or the egg? I'm drinking because I'm depressed. Nah, we got to help you figure this out because the symptoms are outlined in the book, and that's what we're going to talk about. But I'm seeing doctors and counselors and therapists, and I'm not giving any of them a break. And are you drinking? Some, a couple. But y'all understand the term that we use today is functioning alcoholic. I'm drinking, and sometimes it gets away from me, and I'm drinking a little bit too much. But I'm holding it together pretty good. I'm not losing jobs and doing all the crazy stuff, and I never did. And so that's one of my deals with. I know we got a lot of new people in here, a lot of young people in here, and y'all need to understand that this idea that your story is what marks you in this fellowship is ridiculous. It's the symptoms of alcoholism that's going to make you part of us. And that's the piece that we need to talk about, I think. Anyway, I'm moving around a bunch because I'm it's a pisser. Every place I move, I'm there. Who knows? And I'm in 10 years in therapy. I love therapists. I love counselors. I just feel all cozy. I go over your house and just lay on your couch. Start talking about my mama, and we tried to, guys, years in and out doing this stuff. And what's this about? And, we talked endlessly about Vietnam. I'm a kid I just did that. This had nothing to do with Vietnam. This was a rock fight when I was 11. Gabby was saying it this morning. "Oh, could I have used a shot of vodka at 11? You know, I mean, I'm convinced I would have two eyes if I'd had a shot of vodka. But I was in Odessa, Texas with a rock fight. That's the way it worked. And so anyway, but we talked a lot about Vietnam. Gosh, I mean, I was a kid of the '60s, and that's I'd never been to Vietnam ever, but we talked a lot about it, and that's you'll follow. We're trying to everybody in here. If you've got family members in the late night, they're all trying to figure out. I know you've been to treatment. I know you've been there. You're in sober a long time. They're still trying to figure out why does she drink? Why? What is it that happened that causes her to drink? And it's like, guys, this is a genetic predisposition. Rich people, poor people, black people, white people, gay people, straight people, everybody, all God's children's got trouble, And we got to stop somehow connecting the drama to our alcoholism and drug addiction. And guys, if I say anything is going to make you sweaty, that's it. Because some of y'all love the drama. I'm an alcoholic because you're an alcoholic because mommy and daddy blew pokey, and that was it. I don't know. I can tell you. No, Joe, isn't it the truth? We were sitting there talking about unusually high cholesterol. My father had unusually high cholesterol. I eat great. I'm a competitive cyclist. My cholesterol is stupid high, even though I eat really well. It's just genetics. Y'all follow? Some of you are brunette, some of you are blonde, some of you we got no idea. Ge- Genetics. It's okay. We don't want to blame somebody. Anyway, we're trying to figure this out. We sat on the couch forever. We talked a lot about me being gay. I mean, this was the whole deal. If it wasn't Vietnam that caused you to drink, it was this whole gay thing. I'm not gay, but I would have loved to have been if I could have connected the dots, because I want to find out as much as you. As this thing progresses, you're going to get to a spot. Y'all see if y'all can identify with this. You get the deal and it's good. Everybody's Gabby was talking about today. She started drinking and just lit up. Joe, everybody starts and it's good. It's just the bomb. You start drinking and you keep doing it long enough, depending on how fast it progresses in you, and it's really good. But there's a price to pay. You're waking up in crazy places. You're doing stupid things. You're compromising the daylights out of who you are, but you're still doing it. If you do it a little bit longer, you're going to end up in that spot that Bill Wilson talks about in the back of the book. You're going to know loneliness like few do. You can't imagine life living with it, and you can't imagine life living without. When you start the experiments, well, I'm not gonna drink anymore. I'm just going to do methamphetamine. That was one of my favorite experiments. I mean, it's just I still got people in Houston, Texas. If that kid could clean a walk-in better than anybody we ever knew, God, living better chemically. But the problem is, and right now what we're seeing is a lot of people with the doctors and the prescription medication. I gotta have something internally to fix the problem. Everybody thinks if I quit drinking, I'm gonna be okay. See, if you're a hard drinker, guys, if you quit drinking, life's gonna start getting better. You're gonna be okay. You knucklehead. If you're an alcoholic, the shit storm's just fixing to hit. Y'all follow? You set that booze down and you get away from it for just 7 8 days, 10 days. My mo is 2 weeks. I'm a 2 week wonder. I could quit for 2 weeks for the ugliest girl in the room. I could quit for 2 weeks. And by the end of 2 weeks, I got to tell you, it's gradual. We were talking about earlier. It's almost imperceptible. Irritable, restless, and discontent. Y'all know where that's in the book. We're up at the doc's page where it starts talking about in the bedevilments, fear, depression, boredom, anxiety, all of this. A lot of us little new guys go, oh shit, yeah. But you see, nobody explained that to me when I got to Alcoholics Anonymous. They said, if you just put the plug in the jug, everything will be okay. And I put the plug in the jug, and all I wanted to do was pull out a gun and shoot myself. Can I get a witness? Well, heal the light. Oh my gosh. In late uh, early 80s, I got married. It was a counselor thought it would be a good idea if I would set down some roots. And I got married, and she was a sweetheart, and she really was. I'll never forget. I was sitting over there in a bar that my twin brother bartended at, and it was over by the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. And I could see I'm out there in the parking lot begging God. I said, God, if you could let this girl marry me, I'll turn over. I'll quit drinking. Everything. I'll be a good boy. And and she married. Oh my God. And Don't you hate it when God calls her bluff? 2 weeks later, I'm in that little garage apartment and I'm watching her shovel them Cheerios in her mouth. And I'm thinking, God, if you could just kill this woman, I'd be okay. And we could probably, I should have known right then the idea. Guys, let me be the first to break this news to you. There is nothing out there that will make you okay in here. Whether you're an alcoholic or an addict or not, I'm telling you, a kid won't do it. A new house won't do it. A car won't do it. The best looking girl on earth won't do it. No amount of money will do it. If you're not okay in here already, you ain't going to get okay. Y'all should pay me for that information. Right? Maybe not. Anyway, I moved up to North Texas with her, trying to get closer to my brother. I got a job at a big country club, and it turns out that the guy that I was working with was also an alcoholic, just like me, and he's also a drug dealer. I mean, who knew? And I was one of these purists. I'm not going to do drugs ever. Y'all understand? Because drugs are illegal. So's driving drunk. But that's another story. So so I'm chipping a little bit here and a little bit there, and I'm crazy. I'm so not okay. And again, I'm still in therapy. I'm on a whole bunch of medications trying to level me out and do the things that we do, trying to help. And I'm I'm convinced if I can just get my little ducks all in a row. I said that in New York when I first met Bart, and every head in the place looks, what does that mean? Y'all know what it means in Arizona, right? All my ducks in a row. Yeah. Yeah. If I could just get the right woman and the right job and everything's cool, then I'd be okay. And guys, 99% of the people that come to treatment that we get to talk to, that's what they believe too. I'm so glad that alcoholism is a disease. It's so good to know that. But why am I drinking? They're not buying any of that. What they're buying is there's something out there causing the problem. Because see, that's what hard drinkers can do. Moderate drinkers, they can. I'm drinking because of the stress of the job. So quit. Oh, how cool is that? Yeah, I can quit. And they quit the job. They stop drinking. They reel it all back in. Oh, it was that job all along. How cool. It's not me. I've quit a dozens of jobs trying to get better. Dumped perfectly good girls, left great cities. Y'all follow? Trying to fix this, and I'm a mess. I'm a wreck. And 1987. No, it's early 80s, 1980s. I had a little domestic disturbance with this nice woman, and I'm one of the West Texas boys that we just raised. You don't ever treat a woman with disrespect. You might hate her guts, but you don't treat her with disrespect. And there was a shoving match that night in our little duplex in Denton, Texas, and I remember pushing her, and I remember the storm afterwards, and I came in later afterwards, and she said, "What was that about? What?" And I apologized, and she said, "You're going to have to quit drinking because if you're going to stay married with me, we're not going to play this game. I've been around it before, and I'm not going to play this game with you. We're done. You can stay in the stupid restaurant business if you want. We can live in this stupid godforsaken town if you want. Whatever you want to do, we can do, but you're not going to drink anymore." And I looked her in the face and I said, "Absolutely, I'm down with it, and I'll quit." And before anybody laughs inappropriately, let me tell you that I meant it with every fiber in my body. I'm so sick and tired of hearing speakers talk from the podium talking about all alcoholics are just a bunch of liars, and every time your mouth's moving, that's not true. And it's disrespectful. At times, I have lied. At times, I have not told you the truth. But when I looked at that woman and told her that I was going to quit, some employers that I told, I meant it. I didn't understand it. I didn't have the power to pull that off. And I've got to tell you guys, that's a closely guarded secret that a lot of family members still don't understand. They believe that you could quit anytime you get damn good and ready. Our judicial system in the United States is built on that. 87% of the people in our jail cells today were there for alcohol and drug-related offenses. They didn't get there for the first 3 offenses. They got there for the 3rd or 4th felony. What are you, stupid? No. Insane. I can't. Big Book gets crystal clear on page 24. It says, we have lost the power of choice in drink. I still hear people in meetings, and my head spins around when I hear it. I got up this morning and chose not to drink. Really? No, really? See, I don't have to make a choice because the obsession for Chris Raymer has been lifted, just like so many of y'all in this gathering. It's not an option to me. It's just, I don't even think about it. That's what recovery looks like. That's what the 10th step promises are all about. But nobody will talk about that when I'm trying to get sober. It just absolutely drives me crazy. There's there's a paragraph right after that. It says, you won't remember the consequences of even a week or a month ago. Won't come to your forefront of your mind to stop you from drinking. That's why your families are so disappointed. We figured after that last DWI, he quit. Yeah, he did. And that's what I want to talk about. I went to Alcoholics Anonymous right after that, trying to save that marriage. I got loaded, to say the least. 2 weeks later, I came home. I had a couple of beers, and she went straight to the bedroom and packed. And my deal with her wasn't that I wasn't going to come home drunk anymore. My deal with her was that I wasn't going to touch another drop of alcohol. And I'm rationalizing and justifying why it's okay. We still do it. We see it all over our fellowships. Well, I can still smoke a little pot. I can eat a Klonopin, for God's sakes. I mean, what's the big deal? It's a huge deal. It's a fatal deal. Unbelievable. Anyway, she left, bless her heart. And I went to Alcoholics Anonymous trying to save that marriage. And I was into to spend the next 7 years in and out of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I loved it. I loved the people. I loved the fellowship. I loved but I couldn't get sober. And that was back in the days when treatment centers were grinding out people by the left and right. And I mean, it was just inundated with people coming out. And our meetings were full. They were full of people, and it was all about the fellowship. Just meeting makers make it. And then just come to more meetings. We're going to the meetings, we're talking about your problems, and we're telling your stupid war stories. And I'm freaked out. Guys, this is it. I want to say this real quick and I move on. I get a bad rap from the podium sometimes because people think I'm knocking their stories. Our stories are so valuable, it's not even funny. You got to have a story if you're going to help anybody get sober. Y'all identify with that? We go over to this little cafe over here, and there's a guy over there. He's drinking. He's fighting a ketchup bottle. You know how it is. It's like you can say, oh man, he's one of us. If I want to talk to this guy about maybe getting sober, I got to go share some stories with him. I got to sit down with. I can't just talk. Have you found Jesus? I can't do that. Bill Wilson says that's called leading with your chin. You can't do that. But I can go over there and say, you know what? A bunch of years ago, I was fighting that same ketchup bottle in that same booth. We start laughing about drinking and stuff. I get his confidence. And then pretty soon, because inevitably, it's like fishing. We've done this with thousands. It's like fishing. You sit there and talk to him, visit, and he's going to share some of his stories. And oh my gosh, you did what? You took your clothes all the way off? Oh my God. And we're just laughing. And I did that one time, and we're like, easy, click, click, just like fishing. Click, 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 click. Pretty soon he's going to be looking and says, but you're not drinking. I said, no, buddy, I got sober finally in 87. I haven't had a drink in 26 years. 26? No. Easy. Click, click. You got to ask. You can't. How'd you do it? Reel that buggy in, buddy. I'm telling you, he's in the boat. He's flopping around. You get him now. It's open season on him. You know what I'm saying? It's like the prosecution. You open that line of questioning. Let's go. We're here, and that's what we do. And that's what Bill Wilson talks about. And working with others is a whole chapter of doing it. That's what we do. And so I got him, and he's all excited. Okay, maybe I can do this. And we bring him to a meeting, and we tell him some more stories. I'm great, my daughter. One day I'm going to do it. I'm going to embarrass my wife to death, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to drop trowel right here from the podium. Guys, but this is what killed me. And Alcoholics Anonymous, we go and we start talking. And here's what y'all don't understand. My story is important in two different places. One's in a 12-step call. Absolutely. The other is what we were doing up here. Friday night, you better have a story. In fact, my advice to you is make up a bunch of crap. If you've got a dull, stupid story, rob some liquor stores in that story. It doesn't make any difference. Nobody's going to check anyway. What the hell? I don't know. It's just entertainment at that point. But I'm talking about in the meetings with us. Here's what we end up doing. We end up with these. All we have is our story, guys. Shame on me if all I've got is my story. Shame on me, because I got a story, but I've also got a guaranteed solution to the problem. And sooner or later, I need to get around to explain this to you. I'm not saying we can't refer to our story. I'm just trying to say this old saw of this idea that we're going to scare some little newcomer in here. I mean, how many times have we been in a meeting and listened to somebody, well-meaning person? You don't want to end up like me, do you? Buddy, I would poke my eyes out with a fork before I would end up like you. Do you think for a second that I ever planned on eating out of dumpsters in Houston, Texas? I, Nobody thought that was going to happen. See, what we need to do is we need to start connecting the story to the symptoms of alcoholism. Because, buddies, let me tell you, if you don't hear anything else I say tonight, hear this. The thing that ties us all together are the symptoms of untreated alcoholism. The nice lady over here, the old geezer back over there, the black person there, the gay person, I don't care. Cross-section, everybody in here that's an alcoholic, we got a couple of things in common. We've got a physical phenomenon called craving that the doctor's opinion talks about, and we've got a mental obsession that makes it absolutely impossible for me to stay away from it. Even when it's out of my body, why do I keep going back to it? Because I'm nuts. And it's got nothing to do with whether you're living in a $2 million Adobe on the hill out here or a busted down trailer across town. We've got to get away from the stupid drama. Let me tell you who we're hurting the worst with this. The young people and the women. I've seen it 1,000 times. Lady comes in and like if she's got a little sheet, she's got to get it signed. You know, she got caught at a soccer game. She had a little vino on her breath, and they busted her, and she's in trouble. She needs to get this thing signed. She's coming in. We want to give her an adequate presentation of the program. No, we're going to tell her about how many DWIs we had, how many people we chopped up, put in little plastic bags, and oh my God, we're going to tell them all the stories. And some of you are grinding your teeth. That's perfectly okay with me. I can't tell you how many of those women I've watched clutch that Louis Vuitton tighter by the minute, and after the minute they get their sheet signed and leave, and we never see them again. We scared them away. You hang around AA long enough, you'll hear your story. That's not true. I have yet to hear a one-eyed ex-cook eating out of dumpsters in AA. In fact, I demand that Alcoholics Anonymous produces a brochure that maybe not. Guys, don't take what I say and run with it. I'm not knocking your story. Refer to it. Let's visit about that. But it's the symptoms that tie us all together. And that's what I mean. You don't have to drink for 40 years to have these symptoms kick your butt. You can do it. I sponsored a guy one time. He had 2 DWIs. He drank twice. This poor little guy had no social time whatsoever. Oh my God, some of us had some periods of time where it worked for us a little bit. This little guy didn't. And he's in-stage alcoholic at 19 years old. He don't want to hear your stupid stories. He don't believe for a second that he's ever going to end up like you. Let's share the book about that. The stories will get him in the room. Bring them on. Once we get him here, let's share some hope. 1987. I'm working for my twin brother. I can't cook anymore. I'm just too banged up. I'm too sick. I can't work in the industry. And I'm a licensed chef, and I got about $60 in the bank. And I living in an apartment that my sister-in-law co-signed, and I drive home, pick up some beer, went home about 4:00 in the afternoon, whole November night up in North Texas, and picked up a stack of return checks in the mail, and here we go. You know, guys, I'm 35 years old, and I'm just done. You know, I've been to treatment. I've been done, neutered, and spayed. I've done everything I can do. I did colonics to get sober. I've sat naked in sweat lodges. What churches built like teepee. I've done everything I can possibly do. You've got to want to get sober bad to do colonics. Now, let me just tell you, I don't know. I never stayed sober, but my complexion was something else. I got to tell you that. Anyway, I'm done. And without much fanfare, I'm on 7 medications a day, and I set the medications at that side, and I stacked up those letters that I just opened, and I got a couple little ferrets in the house, and I fed them little ferrets, and I watered a little ivy, and I didn't write any letters, and I just tried to commit suicide. I went to the medicine cabinet. There was a couple of bottles of pills, and I just tried to check out. I've been in AA 7 years. I've done everything that I know to do. Now I don't own a big book, and I've never had a sponsor. I never worked a single step. Okay, I'll take some responsibility for that. Good heavens, I'll take 90% of the responsibility. But I got to tell you, I'm a little pissed that people think that the newcomer should know what to ask. Because if you, I mean, this is weird. This is strange at best from the beginning. If you don't know what goes on, I don't know. I remember getting sober, running around every bookstore in Louisville, Texas, looking for a big book. I need a big book. Well, how big a book do you need? Those pills hit my stomach, and and I heard a voice that night that said, "Don't do this. Go back to Alcoholics Anonymous." Said, "Go back to AA." I'm not. This wasn't a thought. Perhaps you should give Alcoholics Anonymous another. This was a voice I heard. Could have been the guy's vacuum cleaner next door. I have no idea. I believe it. I believe God was giving me the answer. Don't do this. Go back to AA. And I remember about 5 minutes, I guess, of talking about. I picked the ferret cages to see if it was the ferrets. I mean, that's how it wouldn't have surprised me, but the ferrets were talking to me. Understand? But God, then that ain't gonna happen. And ah. But I made myself sick, and I laid down on the side of the bed, and I heard it again. I said, "Don't do this, Chris. Go back to AA." And I've got emails from all over the world from people that have heard that same voice. Sometimes it was a guy's voice, sometimes it was a woman's voice. But guys, I believe that there is spiritual intervention. We can be so flippant about this, but I believe God's all over it. I've seen it thousands of times. Y'all think it's a coincidence of the people that's in this room tonight? How many of y'all have sat at tables with somebody that has sparked a major conversation because of the people you happen to be? It's every day when I go to a meeting, when I see it in treatment. Why do people come to that specific facility at that particular time? It's the counselor's going to give you the same stick. I'm going to talk to you about the same stuff. It's going to be why did you end up there then? God's all over that stuff. If you're not careful who you talk to, they'll make light of that. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. They're the same ones that call it a pink cloud. It's called God's grace. God's grace is continual, guys. I got to tell you, it's a pretty cool thing. Next morning, I came to and heard the voice one last time, and I made myself sick again. I was a mess, and I went to work because that's what I had to do. And I called the doctor, and I worked late. Now, I was going to go to this meeting at Denton where I used to date this girl, and I was going to see if she was still around because I might need somebody to talk to tonight. Well, and I was running late, and I couldn't do it. Between my apartment and the Kentucky Fried Chicken place was this AA meeting I'd never been to before. A guy showed me one night after a blackout. He showed me. He said, "Chris, this is a big book meeting over there, though. But if you go in there, you better be ready to study the big book." And I remember making a mental note. Check. I will never go in there. Y'all follow it? You're not going to get a date in that place. I mean, why would I? Hockey's just as good across town. What the hell? But I was running late, and I went into this meeting, and that's part of my spiritual experience right there. Is I got out of my pickup truck, and I walked in the back door of that AA meeting. Y'all know that I walked in the back door, right? Because I didn't want anybody. 7 years picking up chips, and I didn't want anybody to know I was going back to Alcoholics Anonymous. We were laughing this morning. I found out months later that my mom had placed me on the prayer list of every church in North Texas had my name on their prayer list. Oh my gosh, there's nothing anonymous about us. Let me just tell you that. Yeah. Like nobody knows you're a big old drunk, and now you're getting well, and you want to tiptoe around and pretend nobody. Anyway, I walked in the back door of this meeting, guys, and I've told this from a million podiums. I can't not tell it, and I'm a mess. I'm a little skinny guy, and I've watered I'm just kidney damage and liver damage. I'm coming unglued, and I look like I got this big old full beard like my twin brother wears. Always got food in it, and I got my wardrobe consists of 2 pairs of Levi's and 3 Through the Loom t-shirts. I got 3 because they come in a pack of 3. Y'all follow? You wash them, Billy. You wash them enough, and the pocket used to be over here, and you wash them enough, it eventually comes to the sit right here. So you look like a kangaroo. Like it is. Oh, little Ken always sticking straight. Oh my God. I haven't bathed in days. I got sweat stains on me. I'm a mess. And they used to laugh when I got the alcohol songs. They said, Chris, we didn't know if you were wearing an eye patch or an ear muff. Kind of moved around a little bit on me, a little bit, kind of hard to look cool like that. Anyway, I walked in the door and y'all know how it is. We were talking, Gabby did such a great job talking about this self consciousness. I know everybody thinks alcoholics are these big extroverts, and I know some of y'all are extroverts, but a lot of us are just painfully shy. Anxiety to the max. We're just like a big old ingrown hair. And it's like, and they're laughing. Don't you hate people that laugh when you're that miserable? I'm detoxing. I'm less than 24 hours away from a suicide epiphany. How can you laugh that loud? I mean, don't you know I'm hurting here? And I want to be victim man, but I can milk it. Well, why? Because it works. I can manipulate the room with my victim stuff, just like some of you guys can manipulate the room with your anger. There's techniques, but it's a terrible place to be. What about just being who God made you? Oh, what a gift. Oh, and by the way, you won't drink anymore. Oh, that's beside the point. Never mind. Okay. I got in there and was walking about halfway in there, and I never made it to the coffee pot. And this nice lady back over to the left, she started laughing real loud, and I knew she was laughing at me. Y'all know how that is. It's all about me. And I checked my zipper and checked my patch, everything was okay. And I just, but I'm self conscious, and I says, God, I just feel like hell. I'll come back like maybe Monday. I'll come back. I'm gonna go home and detox for a while because I knew if I left, I'd do the same thing I've always done. I'd go out there and find a reason why it'd be okay for me to have a couple of drinks. Craving will kick in. I'd be off to the stupid races one more time. I took a step back because I'm fixing to pivot and to turn, and I stepped on this little girl's foot. About the same time I stepped on her foot, I felt this little skinny little finger in my belt loop. She said, "Sit down, cowboy. You're not going anywhere." This little 18, 19-year-old girl. I'm a lot of things, but a cowboy I'm not. Okay. But I had a pair of boots on, I guess, and that was the giveaway. But she sat me down in this chair, and as I've talked about this from a million podiums, I get people come up with, men should work with men and women should work. Bite me. This little girl didn't sponsor me. She stopped me from leaving the room. Her sponsor was across the way. It was too crowded in there. You know how it is, those long shot. We used to be able to smoke in every one of those meetings. Remember what it was like? And ceiling was dropping down. Everybody had 7 or 8 cigarettes sticking out of their mouth all at once. We couldn't just smoke one. It just whole carton. And this little girl, this lady said, "Get it," and she did what she was supposed to do. And thank God. If it had been an old hair leg boy, I mean, excuse me, cowboy this, and I'd have shoved you aside and I'd have left. It was no big deal. I was just speechless. Well, okay, and it's like there was nothing sexual here at all. There was just, all right. And she got us some paper towels because I immediately spilled the coffee she handed me, and the meeting started, and the chairperson looked and got that grin on his face. He'd seen me in North Texas for 7 years. He said, "Welcome back." He said, "You look a little worse for the wear." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "Man, we got a newcomer here." He says, "Let's go around. Let's do something a little different. Let's share how our lives have changed as a result of working the steps." I know. Oh my God. What a novel idea. You mean share some hope with this guy that just tried to commit suicide? Oh my God. Y'all need to understand. If they'd gone around, let's tell Chris how we got here. Let me guess. You drank too much. God, come on, guys. It's not a closely guarded secret. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to know how you got here. I could give a rat's butt how you got here. Is your life better today because you got here? Yeah, I agree. They went around the room that night, and man, they talked about getting their credit cards back. And we talked about buying cars and going back to school. There was a lady at the end of the table that had a sketch pad, and she was sketching a little piece of sculpture. And I come from a family of artists. I'm talentless, but I love art. The things that they're doing in sobriety, and they're pulling me with a vision of how cool life can be in sobriety. They all introduced themselves as recovered alcoholics. They all talked about being on some solid, rock solid ground. We live life a day at a time, and they explained that. But they went around the room, and by the end of the meeting, I was pretty pumped. I picked up a chip at the end of the meeting, and there was an old guy afterwards came up, like so many of y'all in here. I want to cry every time I see you. And it's just, they give them old busted up glasses and looked over him like that. And he had his little old big book in there all wrapped up with duct tape. Y'all know the kind I'm talking about. And somebody that actually used it for something other than a coffee coaster. And he said, Chris, my book asked me to ask you a question. Have you got a minute? I said, absolutely. He said, Chris, the book asked me to ask you one simple question. Are you done? Whoa. And he explained what that would look like. Buddy, if you're ready to do this, I'll help you with this work. I'll show you how to get through it at a quick pace so that you can have a spiritual experience and then you can come help us carry the message. Thank you. And that night, for the first time, they opened the book and they qualified me as an alcoholic. They talked to me about the physical craving and the mental obsession. Guys, my bottom was not listening to your story. My bottom was not my story. Harry Tebow, Bill Wilson's shrink. He's got a compilation of all of his writings. If you're interested, I'll get you how to connect it to it. But he wrote a bunch of great stuff, bunch of literature. And Bill Wilson and him were thick as thieves. Bill was under his tutelage the whole time he was writing 12 and 12. This guy really helped Bill with a lot of insight. One of the letters he wrote, he said, you can hit 1,000 bottoms, but unless you surrender at one of those bottoms, you're just going to keep hitting bottoms. Guys, I wanted to stay sober in 1980 for that wife. There was nothing in me that didn't want to stay sober. I was done. Being done is not enough. You've got to have the solution. You've got to know what to do. You can't stay sober because you want to. You'll stay sober because you get off your butt and actually do something. Why is that so controversial in Alcoholics Anonymous to talk about? Because it is. They explained to me for the first time the disease of alcoholism. They talked about the physical craving and the mental obsession. And I remember thinking, damn, that's cool. I'm an alcoholic. I mean, come on, guys. I've got a packet of doctor's notes. You know, your borderline personality, you're this, you're that, you're manic depressive, you're depressive disorder, this. I'm taking all these medications. I mean, I pee green. I'm taking so many meds, for heaven's sake. And the truth of the matter is, what was wrong with me? I'm an alcoholic. 6 months later, I'm off all the medications thanks to a good doctor, and I'm kicking butt. The next day, we got on our knees and we did a 3rd-step prayer in the back. They gave me a notebook and they said, let's get started on this 4th-step. Let me show you how to do this. I get emails from all over the world. I just got one from India last week. Well, Chris, don't you think a few days is a little fast to be working the steps? Guys, I've been in AA for 7 years. I'm behind the 8 ball here. Y'all understand? This idea that we somehow need to go slow with the newcomer is ridiculous. Are you ready to go? Strap yourself in and let's go. Bill Wilson's working the steps while he's still in Towns Hospital in 1935. He's working the steps with Ebby. Ebby's up there 12-stepping his butt, working him through what was then the rudimentary, what was going to be the 12 steps. His 9th day in Towns Hospital, he's making amends from the treatment center. I mean, from the hospital ward. Oh, and Dr. Bobby, he worked in less than 2 weeks. But you can take 6 months because you're so special. Sorry for the sarcasm, guys, but I wish you would hurry up because we need you in the trench. Let me make a clear point. I'm going to wind this down. Been around the treatment center biz forever. And one of the things I know, I go to every conference out there. I read every journal that's out there on alcoholism and drug addiction. I mean, I'm a fan of it. I'm a student of that. I got to tell you something that we know without a shadow of a doubt. I don't care what treatment center it is. I don't care whether they're advertising, how big shot they are. When they leave that treatment center, if I can get them hooked up with like some of the people I've met here in this room, and you could take them to a meeting and get them worked into the 12 steps and get them sponsoring, they stay sober. If they don't, I don't care how good the treatment center is, they will get out downstream and the untreated alcoholism will come back. I guarantee you that internal discomfort will outweigh the benefits in their mind. And one day it'll say, the heck with this. And they will go get loaded. I don't care what solid ground we put them on, unless it's followed up by this 12. That's why I'm such a passionate advocate of Alcoholics Anonymous. This is the only game in town for the true alcoholic that needs help. And we don't have enough people in the trench helping us carry the message. Because we got a lot of people out there slowing everybody down. If you're in a meeting where they're telling you that you can't sponsor until you've been sober a year, ask them where that is in the big book. I'm just saying. Never mind. I'm just saying. Don't you know? These are the same ones that tell you all the time. I won't get on this rant. These are the same ones that will always spend all their time telling you, you don't need to do anything but go to meetings now. You just need to focus on recovery 24/7. We lose so many of these little guys in halfway houses. Some of you guys in it, this is how we lose you. We get you into recovery and you're bebopping along and you're kicking butt, taking names, and we won't let you do anything else but that. See, guys, we didn't get sober so we could just be sober. We got sober so we could start changing this world. Go out there and start learning how to speak some new languages. Go get a job, go back to school, go through the cool stuff you're supposed to go do. I'm I'm watching more people out there right now from my perch in the industry relapse around boredom than anything else. Probably nobody can relate to that. Guys, you got to place recovery first. I'm with that. I'm not saying that don't do that, but you can do that and apply to college. You can do that and go get a job. You're sitting on your butt. Pretty soon, you're going to start feeling sorry for yourself. Selfish and self-centeredness, that we think is the root of our problems. You with us? Self-pity is what kills alcoholics. Let's go out there and get excited. You find something out there, guys, to get excited about. I don't care if you're young or you're old. You're going to have a much better chance of staying sober than anything else. You put your life on hold around this alcoholism stuff, and now we're sober. Let's get back engaged again. Let's go kick some butt. It's not going to hurt you. I guarantee you that. Boredom kills us. I 2 weeks later, I'm sitting on the tailgate of my truck. They're teaching me the disciplines of 10, 11, and they've got me reading everything about Alcoholics Anonymous. I've got a completed 4th step, but I haven't done a 5th step yet. But I'm sitting on the tailgate of my truck, and it dawns on me that the obsession to drink has lifted. And I don't remember, Gabby was talking about it earlier. That moment of clarity when you realize you're on rock solid ground. Guys, I know I could get sick again. We watch people do it all the time, but there's nothing to indicate if I haven't obsessed about alcohol in 26 years that it's just going to miraculously start happening tomorrow if I keep doing the same thing I've been doing. It's not rocket science. God doesn't love some of you more than he loves others. It's some action that we take based on our own well-being, and the miracle takes place. He talked too much about God up there. I can hear it now. Yes, this is unapologetically about God. I'm a cyclist, and years ago I told the story from a million podiums, but I'll end with it. Uh, I'm not a very good cyclist. I love to do it, but I got piss poor genetics with it. I'll never be competitive. But we were riding mountain bikes back in the day. And there's a state park out there near where we go to meetings out there at the hill country where I grew up. And we go out every Tuesday and Thursday with this bunch of guys. And there'd be about 15 or 20 of us. And we ride these mountain bikes out there and just tear up the hills. It was the bomb. And there was this one little piece of track, though, that was up a fence line. It was just straight up the side of this little hill. Not hills like this. Nobody rides that. It's too scary. No, but these, they're small, but it was a little technical piece on there. And I'd try to ride up it and I'd fall and everybody would laugh. And over a period of time, though, it got to be irritating for everybody I'm riding with because they're having to wait up at the top of the hill while I get off and, dust myself off and push my bike up. And, they're losing daylight. So after a while, they just stop waiting because they're going to know. They call it Chris's Hill because I would fall every time. Bastards. And I just, where was the love in that? And I'm doing it. I did it again. And I pull up about halfway up that hill in the same spot. I fall and bust my butt. And I'm just done. This is not fun. And I look up the hill and there's a guy up there and I said, he leaning over his handlebar, looking over the hill at me. And I said, what? Like he wants to say something funny, like he's going to make fun of me. And he said, Chris, listen, we got to get to the bottom of this. So you fall in the same place every time because you do one thing when you get to that spot. You quit pedaling. And I said, that is ridiculous. That is so stupid. You know why you get up that hill? Because you're riding a $3,000 Proflex. And I've got this little stupid specialized rock hopper for $600. That's what I got. I got this piece of crap and you got this. He said, here, yeah, okay. Well, here, take my bike. Ugh. You follow? Now here, everybody else is left. All of our riders are gone. They can hear them cackling up in the hill. They're all finishing the ride. And this guy's leaning over his thing. He says, no, Chris, let's just listen. I said, listen, I'll come out and practice. I see what you're saying. Maybe you're true. I said, no, you're going to do it now. We're not leaving this hill until you get this right. Push it. Go back down the hill and then get a head of steam. And when I say, hey, when you hit that spot, you keep pedaling. Close your eyes, sit up, stand up, fight, fight, fight. I don't care what you do. Keep pedaling. Okay. All right. I'm cussing. I'm just cussing. You're just doing this to embarrass me. I don't know why you want to make a big deal out of this. It's not that big of a deal. I am mortified. Y'all understand? Because somebody's showing me that they absolutely love me enough to spend some time with me. When I got at the bottom of the hill and I got a big old steam going, and I ran up there like that. He said, "No, pedal, pedal," and I pedaled it, and I jumped over that place like this. I said, "Oh, I did it," and I got over that thing. I was going way too fast for the top of the hill and busted my ass on top of the hill. That's not part of the story, but y'all understand it. But I was up there, I got up and I never missed it again. Well, y'all understand where I'm going with this? Because somebody slowed down enough. Somebody said it earlier today. Somebody gave a rat's butt about my program, about what I was doing, and they didn't really care much for my sensitive little feet. I make them sound like they were mean. They weren't, but they loved me enough to tell me the truth. You can't do this and stay sober. You've got to do this if you want to do what we do. And I got well, and the rest has been pretty amazing ride. I want to say this real quick, guys. Nobody gets let off the hook. Bill Wilson understood it. He spends the great majority of the big book talking about the first step and the 12th step. Everybody gets a chance to participate. And again, we got a society out there that wants to slow everybody down. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but most groups, you've got one or two people that sponsor all the people. That's not the way it was supposed to be. See, guys, we don't take these people on to raise. I got these little sticklers. I've still got a bunch of them in my bag if you're interested. Bill Wilson wrote in a letter in 1942, he said, "Our chief responsibility to the newcomer is an adequate presentation of the program." Means if you're new in here, I've got a responsibility to tell you how to get well. Whether you want to do it or not is beside the point, but I'm going to make sure that you know all the reasons how to do this. You follow? I can't just pat you on the butt and say, keep coming back. That's not an adequate presentation of the program. I'm not knocking that. I'm just saying thank you, but no thank you. That's not what Bill Wilson said. Everybody gets to do this. In the front of the book, it says, each of us in our own way. Guys, I'm going to tell you, for every one of you guys, we a bunch of you people picking up 40-year, 30-year chips, 20-year chips. We've got a lot of great sobriety in this room. Every one of you that have stayed around this fellowship carrying big books and taking your turn chairing meetings and working with these newcomers, I got to tell you, with every ounce of absolute admiration and love I can muster, I got to thank you from this podium for doing that. We don't have enough people out there doing it. We're losing thousands of our old timers via prescription medication. Thousands of our old timers. It's absolutely tragic to watch. And we need some of these people to come pick up the slack. You see, what Bill Wilson understood is that each of us in our own way, we're going to carry the message. We don't need another Chris Raymer. We got one. Thank you very much. One idiot like me is enough. You don't have to go in a meeting and beat people up or try to sound like, don't. Be yourself. You see, because God's going to use you. The problem is not hooking you up with somebody to work with. The problem is you getting past your ego to say yes. Some of you young guys in here, sober 6 months, some cat comes up to you, you shared something in the meeting. I mean, I got a guy in my home group right now. It freaks me out. He says that he's got more piercings than you can shake a stick at. I mean, we don't get near him in a thunderstorm. I mean, when it starts thundering outside, everybody moves. He is the coolest guy you'll ever want to come across. And he's sharing something in a meeting, and I'd shared in a meeting I thought was particularly tonight. I was sharing pretty good. And, and as you can see about the deal, we said the separate prayer at our meeting. We don't say, keep coming back. We say, stay. Because that's what we want you to stay. And pretty soon we're hooking in, everybody's visiting. I see the little guy coming across. It's like that shark movie, Jaws, dun, 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 dun. There's this little wild, just like a little crazy groundhog coming at you. And, I says, oh man, God, I really got too many guys working right now. I mean, I'm loaded down. I really don't. Okay, well, all right, I'm ready. And he pushes me aside, literally bumps me aside to get to this pin cushion behind me. This is, what am I chopped? What? He don't want nothing that one-eyed guy's got. He wants this kid back here, what he said, and that's what he wants. And can you sponsor me? And this little kid, I sponsor him. He didn't look at me. Can I sponsor him? He said, yes. That's what we're supposed to do. And then the kid turned around, says, I'll see you outside. We'll smoke a butt. And he said, oh shit, what did I just do? Listen, Chris, can you help me here? What am I going to do? And I helped him. That's what we do. We're all teachers in here. Nobody has to chair a meeting by themselves. Nobody has to sponsor by themselves, because we got enough people in this room right here to change the world. Y'all follow? I got to read one thing. Somebody handed me a quote today. It was, we get these little distribution lists out there. Somebody handed me an Martin Luther King quote. Life's most persistent and urgent question: what are you doing for others? And this is for society. This is for the world. But it's particularly telling as I'm coming over here today and I was reading on emails on the plane over. Says, oh my God, that's the truth. I couldn't not do it. I did pretty good. I'm so sorry. It's a handicap thing. I don't know. I like to tell you. Damn, Gabby, it took me an hour to get it from them. I don't know. You had it going real quick this morning. I don't know. Y'all understand that that's what it all sums up to be. Everybody that I sponsor, that's what it is. What are you doing today to give back to the fellowship that saved your butt? My mama, sometimes she asks me, are you still doing them AA classes? I mean, 26 years sober, she still asks me that question. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, when's your debt to that fellowship going to be paid? Never. Haven't eaten out of one dumpster in 26 years. Don't write hot checks. I got a pretty cool life. I get asked to do things like this. Guys, I love you. If I can ever help you, I always got my emails and stuff out. I network like a big dog. If I can ever help you in Texas, well, y'all send them our way and we'll do the same. We'll flip them back to you guys. Y'all have been so good this weekend, and I'm going to miss you. That's for a fact. Thank you so much.